Good morning, everyone. First of all, I'd like to begin by thanking Ruth Galtier and the Seniors Action Quebec for inviting me to speak here at this conference on end-of-life choices, particularly with regard to the provisions of Bill 52. It's a big issue and I'll try to cover the main points. I'll try to be brief. 10 minutes isn't a lot of time for this. I offer a Roman Catholic religious perspective. The late Cardinal Jean-Paul Turcotte was tireless in proposing Jesus Christ to the people of Quebec. The Quebec bishops submitted a brief to the Select Committee, and today I continue to propose the way of viewing our lives which comes from our Christian understanding that we're created in the image and likeness of God and that our life is His gift. The Select Committee, Dying with Dignity report of March 2012, which laid the groundwork for Bill 52, clearly states that euthanasia is a topic that goes to the heart of the human condition and of people's fundamental values. As we know, and we heard from Mr. Kelly, the Commission listened to very many submissions from the Catholic community in Quebec. They considered these submissions. Of course, the Catholic community is realistic enough to know that it's not the only voice and that its values are not the only ones in this society or in this debate. But we also believe that we have a valuable contribution to make to any debate, and that's why the Catholic community proposed and continues to propose a particular vision of how we understand ourselves as human beings. This understanding is one which we propose not only to Catholics, but to and for everyone. In relation to Bill 52, it is this: that the law can only respect the inherent dignity of each Canadian life if it acknowledges and upholds that no one has the right to take action that would intentionally end another's life. Any diminishment of the absolute respect for human life is not in accord with how we understand God's plan and will for us as human beings. No one has authority to take another's life, neither has anyone the authority to request that someone end their life. Bill 52 describes euthanasia as medical aid in dying, and we believe that's a euphemism. In Bill 52, the principle of personal autonomy is held to override the principle of the sanctity of human life, or the absolute dignity that the Catholic Church upholds of the human person. Sorry, I'm going very fast here. Conscious of time.
It's been a miracle. You can have 3 more minutes.
Thank you. With Bill 52, the law now allows for human life to be intentionally ended, directly ended by a physician at the request of the patient. We believe that once that line is crossed and the legal prohibition against killing is removed, that we open up the real possibility of the abuse of such a law. I acknowledge that the Select Committee were very diligent in examining the fears that were expressed by the Catholic community, and that they have taken great care, and I commend them for this, to ensure that those requesting euthanasia, those who find themselves in that position, are protected in law. Nevertheless, this law is something which we think is detrimental to the common good. Whilst there are clearly outlined procedures to ensure that the patient requesting euthanasia is making the choice freely, we ask, how can we be sure that external pressures, and the Bill 52 speaks of the external pressures, that the person is free from external pressure or internal pressure, that they feel pressurized somehow, that they're valueless, that their life is meaningless, and that they should ask for medical aid in dying or euthanasia. I hope to hear later from palliative care people and perhaps Dr. McKinnon on that issue of consent and clarity of consent. The Select Committee visited Holland and Belgium to see euthanasia in practice, and they cite the experience there as giving them reassurance about recommending bringing euthanasia to Quebec.
They believed that the experience of Holland and Belgium was a positive one. However, we've seen that these countries have now expanded their law to allow non-consensual euthanasia, to allow children over 12 years old to request euthanasia. And the question for us is this where we go next? We heard Jeff Kelly speak about the slippery slope, or as I prefer to say, mission creep. Is this going to be our experience? The Commission report says that they are cognizant of the fears of people, and Jeffrey Kelly spoke about that earlier. But the Commission report says that they're confident that it will not be the case in Quebec that the law will be expanded and that people will be made vulnerable. Somehow I don't feel terribly reassured about that. Their experience in Holland and Belgium was something which helped them, in their opinion, to make this law allow for euthanasia. So perhaps further experience in Holland and Belgium, when the law has been expanded there, will provoke them to consider expanding the law here as well. And that's a real, genuine concern for many people. There is a question too about how this law will affect the patient-doctor relationship. Will it distort that relationship which is based on trust? A worrying aspect of the bill too is that in the interest of personal autonomy, the patient can make the choice for euthanasia without consultation with anyone other than his or her physicians. Now that's interesting in the light of the Commission's emphasis on speaking about death and dying with your family, discussing these issues with your family. But in the law, as it's drawn up, a person can decide for euthanasia without consultation with anyone except their physicians. Whilst I understand the legal principle involved here of protecting individual personal choice, I do feel that this part of the Bill 52 potentially excludes the family and loved ones of the person making such a choice. It sounds like a lonely choice to me. It's a choice that has consequences not just for the dying person, but also for their family. And the idea of a family being excluded from this discussion, excluded from this choice, from this decision, is worrying. Again, how does this choice, especially a choice made in isolation, affect the grieving process of the family left behind? The Select Committee report acknowledges the poor provision, patchy provision throughout the province of Quebec of palliative care, and recommends an assessment of that provision, that palliative care provision be extended and improved. And the Catholic community would welcome such provision, of course. We believe that palliative care provides a solidarity and human support that every person deserves. The Catholic community has tried to support palliative care endeavours, and just recently the former church and rectory of St. Raphael's parish were handed over by the fabrique of that parish to be converted to be used as a palliative care centre. And it's been handed over at a nominal rent of $1 a year. So there are efforts by the Catholic Church to support palliative care. St. Thomas of Becket parish in the West Island as well, where some of you come from, they make generous donations, for example, to palliative care, and that type of process is something that the Catholic community is very involved in, supporting palliative care by fundraising, by donations, and also by volunteering, which is very, very important. People, from their faith perspective, volunteer at palliative care to support it. There is a need, and the Commission report speaks of this, for all of us to talk about end-of-life care. It shouldn't be a taboo topic. I agree with the Commission report on this. And we believe as a church too that it's necessary to make clear, not only to our own members, but to the wider community, our understanding of what the morally acceptable good choices are that can be made when we're approaching the end of our lives, the deaths, our own death or the death of someone else. The lack of knowledge about what the church teaches, even within our own circles, about options for end-of-life care can cause unnecessary suffering. And that's something, of course, that we try to avoid. Priests are sometimes unsure of what to advise parishioners who come to them for advice. Priests sometimes aren't sure, because of the medical advances in medical technology, that they're not up to date with or au fait with. they're hesitant sometimes to advise. And this can cause, as I say, some people to suffer in a prolonged way when it's not necessary. Life for a Catholic is not to be preserved at any cost. That is not the teaching of the Church. It is permissible, under some circumstances, to stop or refuse treatment. It's hard to speak to individual cases because, from up here in a sense, because everything is, personal to yourself. But individuals need information, they need to ask for information, and again, to have a sense of empowerment, we ask doctors questions, we need to ask medical people questions. We also need to consult with our clergy, chaplains, to get the information that we need. We need to inform ourselves from the medical point of view, but also from the spiritual and moral point of view. We hope that patients would make good choices with the help of their physicians, spouses, family and friends. Clergy and other Catholics who journey with the dying, again, are there to help them. And today we have, from the Diocese of Montreal, Pastoral Home Care Services. They have a kiosk here. And they are those who take on the responsibility to accompany those who are reaching the end of their life and providing spiritual care from them. And their motto is, we visit because we're Catholic, but not just Catholics. And they provide services in many languages as well. Over my 25 years of pastoral experience, I've journeyed with many people, many seniors, and I've listened to their concerns. And some of the fears of seniors is that they feel that their families and the younger generation don't share their values and don't understand their concerns regarding end-of-life choices. And this is a cause of great worry and concern for them. And I feel that the present law may increase that fear of being put under pressure to end their life prematurely. Many seniors have expressed this fear to me. They have fear also of not having access to family doctors, and this is a big question. Many seniors express to me their fear of the doctor not knowing them, of them not having a relationship with their doctor. And recently, doctors have retired in areas that I've been working in, and there's the seniors who were their patients have not been able to find another doctor. That is very worrying. It's all very well and good to have access to files and whatever, but if you don't have a personal relationship with the person, that puts a different dynamic on that relationship with the doctor. Let's see where we go next. I believe that our faith and our needs can converge. As human beings, we're all called to love and support each other, and the gospel calls us to protect the vulnerable, and that's why I took the opportunity to speak here today. We're called to protect the vulnerable, defend the weak, to help each other in whatever situation we find ourselves. The moral and ethical teaching of the Catholic Church is there to guarantee true freedom, what we believe is true freedom. And so we continue to bear witness to the beauty and dignity of each human life at every stage of existence, from beginning to natural end. Page 663 of the Commission report, and again I would urge you to read this report, states, as we have seen, further to changes in social values, medicine and the law, respect for life is now relative. Respect for life is now relative. So I'll just finish with the words of Cardinal Lacroix. He tweeted after the Supreme Court decision a few weeks ago, "What a sad judgment. Let us accompany those who suffer around us, so that nobody chooses suicide, assisted or not. Love is stronger."